Hey guys, how are you doing? So I was traveling for this whole month of October. I'm back in Bangalore where I am based out of, and I'd gone to my parents' house for this festival called Diwali. It's a huge thing in India. It's a big thing. So all the videos that were coming out on my YouTube channel, the video calling ones, I had recorded them before I left for my travels, and this is why I was not able to put any new Rust related videos on this channel because I was traveling. I didn't have access to anything. Now I'm back at my home or my small studio, whatever it is, and now I'll start creating the rest of the Rust projects. Okay. All right. So a lot of exciting things are happening in the Rust community right now. So there's this new blockchain called Aptos that has come out. They're using a programming language called Move that's built with Rust. There's new blockchain called Sui, S-U-I, that's also built with Rust, and they also use Move, which is again built on with Rust. Then you have ZK Sync or ZK Sync, however you want to pronounce it, which is a ZK EVM. They're also built with Rust. So a lot of stuff is happening with Rust, and now there are also many blockchains, right? So if you're building a new blockchain, guys, you don't have to build it from scratch. You can use something like Substrate, and this is what today's video is all about. So we're learning Rust and we're building Rust projects, and suddenly we've done like 12-13 projects, and suddenly you might get shocked that you'll see a project like this, which is like building your own blockchain with Rust with Substrate. But trust me, don't worry, right? I know what I'm doing, right? I've been training developers for years now, and I know what I'm doing. So you won't get confused in today's video, and you won't have to deal with a lot of data. We don't have to learn a lot of programming, right? So all of the things that you know already about building the Rust project, that's all that we'll be using today. But you will be building your own. You can't call it custom blockchain, but you can start your own Substrate node, which can be used to build your own blockchain. Okay. When you start a Substrate node, now Substrate is a framework built by Gavin Wood, who is also the co-founder of Ethereum. He left Ethereum, he went and started his own company called Polkadot. It's a huge famous company now. And he also created this framework called Substrate. Using Substrate, they built Polkadot. Okay, so it's the other way around. So they built Substrate first, and then they built Polkadot. And so Substrate is like highly, what do you call it? Like proven or an awesome framework to build your own blockchains. You don't have to build blockchains from scratch. Usually you can use Substrate and you'll get it like a very solid foundation from scratch. So the reason why I'm doing this video, which it should have been at the end, right, towards the end of those 50 Rust project series. So in case you don't have no idea, we're doing a 50 Rust project series on my channel, YouTube channel. So go to my playlists and check out the 50 Rust project playlist. And this is around the 12th to 13th video, and so soon I've taken you like from the very basic projects directly into the fire, which is building a blockchain. But don't worry, because we're not actually writing any code. We're not going to customize the Substrate code at all, right? Eventually, towards the end, I will show you how to edit Substrate code, how to build your own custom palettes, all of that stuff. But today's video is not about that. It's about getting you exposed to what you'll be doing when you actually learn Rust. You'll actually be building projects like this. You'll be using something like Substrate, right? And now this is the territory of very advanced and experienced developers, right? This is not something that you'll see a new developer doing, right? This is all that we're doing today is the territory of a very advanced, very skilled, highly skilled, and highly paid developer, right? That's the territory. But to everybody out there, I want to take you into this territory. I want to show you what those guys do all day and what they deal with, right? So that you can get in the right direction. You can also start building your career towards building Substrate blockchains, and then eventually get really high paid jobs, like more than $500,000 a year kind of jobs. Anyhow. So when you start a Substrate node, right, you see something like this. So there are two aspects. You have to start the backend, and it's not a straightforward process. And you have to start the front end. Front end is kind of straightforward, okay. And then you, in this, what do you call it, node, or you can say the UI, you can interact with the node using the UI. So you see all the balances, and these are all the people on the blockchain right now. Alice, Bob, they have their own addresses as you can see. And you right now are Alice. Okay, current block is 157, 155 blocks have been finalized, and it's running here. Okay, development Substrate node. Now you can also transfer money. So if I want to transfer money to, let's say, Charlie and 1, so I'll submit it, and it's taking its time. Current transaction status is ready, and then now the status is in block, and you see events that yes, transfer had happened, right? Transaction fee paid, all of that happened. So there's success. So this is how you can also transfer money between people, and now you're suddenly your current block is 163 and finalized block is 161 because you transferred some money. And this is it. This is all that I will get into right now. I don't want to confuse you too much, right? So today's video is about using what you've learned about Rust, which is like building things, in the sense building a package, for example. By building, I don't mean building, but I mean building in the sense of compiling the complete code and building the executable file, and then you run the executable file. So all of that we'll do. So we'll go through the Substrate documentation, like the basic part. We will install Substrate. We will import. So there's no install Substrate actually. There's just importing of the cloning of the Substrate project that they've given you, and then you just start it off with the help of Rust. So you build it with Rust. And then you also start off the front end on another terminal, right? So there's a lot of introduction. I had to go through this introduction. Also, please make sure, okay, this is a big, like a very, very important announcement, very, very important thing you have to remember. Don't skip any of this introduction I'm giving you. All of these aspects are very important. Don't take this lightly, okay? I mean, it can be difficult to start this off, all right? Do not miss any of the steps that I take you through today. Do not miss any of the steps that I take you through today, because when I was starting out with Substrate some time back, and actually a long time back, so I had missed a couple of steps, and then I was trying to get a project that I found on GitHub to work, and it was just not possible to make it work. You just cannot do it. Like there's so many problems, right? So let me take you through it. So I'll be your guide. I'll take you through it. Like, be very patient. Again, like I said, this is the territory of advanced guys. So even if you're not able to start off the blockchain, it's completely okay. But if you're able to do it, it's very straightforward, because the way I'll take you through it, I'll take you through the actual documentation, which is the best place that I've found right now. So they've changed the documentation, updated it quite a bit. So now it's very, very stable, the way to do it. But in any case, if you're not able to do it, please don't panic, because slowly anyways, with this 50 Rust project series, you're already building your knowledge anyways. Having said all of that, I will now take you through the complete process. Now, first things first, I am Akhil Sharma 90 on GitHub. Make sure you follow me, and make sure you check out most of the repositories here. There's a lot of stuff on Golang, a lot of stuff on Rust, the two things that I very deeply specialize in. And I also teach all of this on YouTube, right? Obviously, you know that by now. And you'll get all of these projects here for free. Everything is for free, and you can use it in your resumes. You can use it in your portfolio, whatever you want to do with it, right? So almost everything that I built, I put out here. Now, there's obviously not 100% of the stuff that I've built on YouTube is on GitHub, because I have 5 different machines, different laptops, and custom PCs, and stuff is just here and there, and it's not very organized. I'm not highly organized, right? I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm working on my own companies. I'm building my own companies, and this is just for me to share my knowledge with you guys, right? So this is the purpose of this YouTube channel, and since I'm building real stuff in the real world, you get to learn the real world stuff from me, right? Like building actual products, rather than just from a YouTuber who's an instructor or a professional teacher and who doesn't really go out in the real world. So yeah, so there's a big disadvantage watching my videos, but there's also a disadvantage because everything is not very organized, or also I'm not a great teacher, right? I just show you how to build stuff, but maybe I'm not very good with explanations. So there are pros and cons to everything. So if you want to build stuff, I'm the guy. If you want to learn theory, I'm not the guy at all. All right. So yeah, so this is me on GitHub. Make sure you follow me, and make sure you star any repository that you use, so that I know that you guys are following along, and I'll feel happy. Okay. And coming back to Substrate, I highly recommend using Windows, okay, because we're not actually going to be using Windows. So this is why I highly recommend Windows. So we are actually going to be using something called as WSL. Okay, and I'm saying this because I have tried Substrate on a Linux machine. I've tried it on Mac OS and I've not had good experiences. And I would say the same about working with Solana, working with Ethereum, working with many other blockchains that I work with. I've not had great experience working with macOS for sure. Linux, yes, I mean, you'll have a great experience, but the problem sometimes is that with Linux, you kind of get boxed into one particular version of Linux. But with Windows, because of WSL, which I've started using a lot now, you can have different versions of Ubuntu. So for me, it's amazing because I can have 20.04, 22.04, 18.04, 16.04 all open at the same time on Windows, right? All of these Linux Ubuntu distributions. And I can also have like a Kali Linux running somewhere. And all of that I can do with the help of WSL. So this is why I would recommend using WSL, because with projects like these, right? The projects that are slightly bigger, you sometimes have to try out different like Ubuntu versions in case things don't work out. Okay, so I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So right, so if you're a purist, Linux purist, which I have been all my life, I'm a Linux purist. But check out Windows WSL. You won't be disappointed. You will love it, and just because of the simple fact that you're going to use Linux, right? But you can use so many different shells of Linux of different versions, which I totally love. So WSL, make sure you have WSL installed. WSL 2 is the one that I'm using. This might not be the right place to install it from. There are multiple other documentations to install WSL 2, so you can go ahead and do that. But after all of that is done, right? After that is done, then you select Ubuntu. It says select Ubuntu. Now, why am I going through the documentation? It's because documents are very often updated now, and the documentation isn't as bad as it used to be some time back. So now, so my suggestions and my recommendations, they keep changing, right? Right now, as of October 2022, documentation is the best place you can go to start off the Substrate node on your machine. But just 3 to 4 months back, this was not the case. Okay, right now it is. Right now it is the case. You must go to documentation. It is awesome, especially the Windows one. I can vouch for this. And now there are a couple of steps that if you miss, you're totally effed, right? I don't want to use the word, but you're totally messed if you miss this step, right? And there's one more step. If you miss this step, this particular command, if you miss these two, you're totally you'll have so many errors and you won't know how to solve them, and the errors will say something else in the in the terminal. That's the big problem. You won't get the actual error. You'll start getting some weird type of errors, and I've spent countless hours fixing that, because when you don't install it properly and you go and check out proper projects for Substrate that you'll find on Medium and you'll find on the internet, the problem is they don't talk about all of this, right? This command has been added by the Substrate guys after people like me and many other people have been heckling and pestering and forcing them on their Stack Overflow and whatever, all these places, or GitHub and all these places, to add these kind of commands in the documentation, and now they're there and they make it very easy now to install it. So a lot of talk from my side. Okay, a lot of talk from my side. Now it is important that I show you how to do it. Okay, this is the first command that you want to put out here. So is you want to update your, so I will just go to the root and I will update sudo apt update. Okay, this is again, I'm on Ubuntu 20.04 and it's on WSL2 on Windows. Okay, then I want to install all of this stuff. Okay, in my case it will say already installed, right, which is completely okay because I've already done that. Then you want this, the third command. Okay, so let me show you again. we have just done this, we have just run this, and now we're running this command 6, okay, and it's telling me to go with any of these three. So you want to go with the default installation, okay, perfect. Now you will go ahead and copy this command. So I'll do that, okay, and now I will check my Rust version. And it's 1.64.0. So make sure you also have this version, which is the latest version right now. And I'll run these two commands now quickly. Sorry, it's not getting copied somehow. Okay, so everything is updated in my case. I know it seems very boring, and it seems very stupid to just go through the documentation, right? As developers, we don't really go through the documentation. We just start putting commands on our own. But please don't do that in this case. I've spent hours, like I said, make sure you get every single line from here, because the reason for every single of these lines existing on this documentation is because, like I told you, there's so many discussions open with GitHub, on GitHub for Substrate right now, on their GitHub repository, so many discussions, and they're all about from people, who have had so many problems, telling them to add these kind of lines there. Then you add rust up show and nightly show. All right, so everything is fine. Now, the thing you're looking for is this active tool chain. This is my active tool chain now. So everything looks good, right? So they've even given you what it should look like in the command display output, right? So all of this luxury was not there available for people like us long time back, who started out long time back. But now all of you guys are really lucky because you have this kind of luxury. They've updated the docs in such a nice way that they even show you what the output should look like, right? So we had to keep shooting in the dark. Anyhow, so no matter how new of a developer you are, I'm sure you're able to follow me till now, right? And suddenly you'll get a big boost of confidence if you're able to start a Substrate node. You've kind of made it. You're on the right path. All right, so now we want to compile a Substrate node, right? So we want to first clone this. So we'll say cd, sorry, I'll actually create a directory called Substrate. Let's call it blah 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 yt. Oh, not here. Sorry, I didn't want to do it out here, so I'll just remove it. Substrate yt. I'll remove this. I want to create it in my dev stuff inside Rust, so I'll create a new directory called Substrate yt. I'll cd into it Substrate yt. Okay. And this is where I want to now clone the main Substrate project. So what's happening here is they have the Substrate guys, right? They give you a template for the Substrate project, and you can use the Substrate blockchain as is, or you can make custom customizations to it. You can add custom palettes and all of those things. Now, doing any customizations is obviously very complicated because you have to understand Rust very deeply, but just using the blockchain as is, that's quite straightforward. I mean, that's what we are doing today. So let's say if you open it up in your, VS Code, this is what the entire project looks like. This is the entire project, right? So this is the code for the node that we'll be running right now, and then there's some documentations, there are palettes, so we can build custom palettes out here, and there's runtime and some scripts for Docker and for initializing scripts, right? So this is the project. So you can close it off and you can cd into your Substrate node template. Actually, I'll just cd into it directly, right? So you can cd into your folder, and then you switch. Awesome. And then you cargo build release. Now this has to build those 971 different it'll get 971 different crates. So we'll have to wait for a while. And I'll watch a video and come back. I'll put this on pause. This should take you somewhere around 4 to 5 minutes easily. So I'll come back in about 5 minutes time. So it's been 4 minutes 15 seconds and has compiled everything for me. There are no errors. Everything seems perfectly fine. And this is a very, very good sign. If you've reached till here, wow, brilliant. Now, this page was the installation page. In case I forget to put these links in the description, I'm just telling you where to find it. So you just go to Substrate, docs.substrate.io / on the install tab, just go to Windows, right? That's where I was. For Linux and Mac OS, you know what to do already. Now the next thing you want to do is at the end of this page, it'll ask you where do you want to go next. So you can tell it to build a local blockchain. This is where you want to go, build a local blockchain. And that's the link I have opened on the next page. Now, on this page, right, the build a local blockchain page, these 3 steps, cloning it and Substrate, the switching and the cargo build release, these 4 things we've already done. So we want to start the local node now. So to start local node, copy this command. And this is like the main thing out here. You have to copy it and paste it. And when you see something like this, right, let me show it to you properly. When you see something like this, it means that the blockchain is running perfectly, right? Blockchain is perfectly running. Seems to be no issues out here. But for everything to work perfectly fine, you need to have the front end so that you are able to interact with the blockchain. I will minimize it and I won't stop it. I'll minimize it and I'll push it to another screen, right? I have a 3-screen setup out here. So I'll push it to another screen. And I will now start working with the front end. So I will go to my dev and Rust and folder and the Substrate for YT that I'd created. So this has my backend, but I also want my front end to be there. So before that, I want to check if I have Node.js. Yes, I have Node.js. I want to check if I have Yarn. Not Yarn, it's Yarn. So both of these are required. Okay, so I have 1.22 for Yarn, 16.14 for Node. And this is pretty good. So I have both of these. In case you don't have Yarn, you will have to install using this command, npm install global yarn. And Node.js, I'm sure all of you have Node.js. Come on. If you're watching my videos in so long, you have Node.js. All right. Then you clone this repository. So you click on this and so this is the place along with the node, like the backend. I want to have another folder where I'll have my front end. It's cloning the front end for me. So this is the official front end given to us by Substrate guys. I'll put my phone on silent. I think that's giving a lot of notifications. Okay. By the way, I use this new Nothing phone in case you want to try it out. It's quite cheap and it's way better than iPhone, and it's an Android phone. I'll never leave Android, but it gives you like the looks of the phone are really awesome, and I bought it in white. So check out Nothing phone in case you want to buy it, because whenever I go to any of the meetups, Web3 meetups or whatever, people ask me about this phone. So I thought I'll just let you guys know. Anyhow, and by the way, I'm not sponsored by Nothing phone. If I was sponsored by Nothing phone, I would have a complete team with me to create these videos. I'm just a single guy and sitting in a room somewhere in Bangalore. Yeah, so I'm not that big, that Nothing phone will ever sponsor me. But I really love the phone. Anyhow, so you have you got the front end template, and now you'll CD into it. Okay, so you will see that you have the front end template. So you want to CD into that Substrate front end template, CD it into it, and you want to now yarn install. Ta-da! So it says done with warnings. Warnings is something that developers ignore. No, like in this case, you can ignore them. Don't ignore warnings, guys. But in this case, you can. Okay, so start the front end template. So you yarn start. You want to say yarn start. I'm too lazy to type it, so I'm just copying and pasting yarn start. No, but it's not copying it, so I'll just type it yarn start. All right. Just to let you know that my backend is also running at the same time. Right, the backend for the Polkadot and the front end is also running. This is somehow when the React project starts, this window becomes really small and the font becomes really small. It compiles successfully. That's what you're looking for. And now you have your Substrate node. Now you can do what you want to do. You can transfer to Bob, something to Bob. Everything successful. Transfer has happened because withdraw happened. Transaction P was also paid, and there was success. You've reached current block 48, and it keeps increasing basically. So yeah, everything is working perfectly fine. So you were able to start your own local blockchain, the node for your own local blockchain. You were able to start with Substrate. Okay, and I've already shown you this, how to transfer funds and the events and everything. And you can stop the local node by, it's very simple. You just have to Control C and it'll stop anyways. And to stop the front end, you can say Control C and just cross it off from here. Everything works perfectly fine. So I will now leave this project's code on my GitHub, but you don't need me to do that, right? Because the code, anyways, we got it from the Substrate guys, right? I didn't write Substrate code. Substrate guys did. But I will be putting some projects on my GitHub, where we'll customize Substrate, okay? And I'll build them specifically for YouTube. So all my personal stuff and what I do for clients or the companies that I'm building, all of that goes to GitLab. That never comes to GitHub, right? Everything that I do for YouTube, that's the stuff that comes to GitHub. So I'll create some projects with you guys where we'll customize Substrate, but I don't want to do it now because it'll be very, very complex, I feel, and I think we'll get done like 45 projects before we even touch any of that. Thanks a lot for watching, and do share this awesome video with your friends, whoever are learning how to build your own blockchains, right? So building dApps and all that is easy, and we learn how to build dApps on Solana. And all that is easy, but building your own blockchain, come on! I mean, that's like you're a rock star now. So celebrate that, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already. You don't get this kind of content on the internet. It's not. I don't think anybody has this, right? Nobody has this except from the Parity Tech, the guys that own Polkadot. Apart from that, nobody has this kind of content on their website or their YouTube channel. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.